Operating a financial firm in the UK without explicit authorization from the Financial Conduct Authority is a criminal offence. The Financial Services and Markets Act 2000, or FSMA, is the legal framework dictating exactly who can and cannot operate within the UK financial sector. Securing this authorization is an intensive process, distinct from a standard registration or a series of administrative tasks. It is a demanding legal gateway that imposes severe, ongoing supervisory obligations, requiring flawless operational execution from day one. Many well-funded fintechs fail to launch simply because their leadership treats the FCA application as an aspirational business plan, rather than a strict legal audit of their existing operations. This timeline charts the FCA's accelerated 2026 processing targets, mapping a clear 4-month schedule from submission to final approval. However, this accelerated schedule is entirely conditional on the FCA deeming your application structurally perfect at the point of entry. If you omit a single required document or trigger a query from your assigned case officer, your application is immediately reclassified as incomplete. The moment that happens, the statutory assessment clock pauses, and your outer deadline stretches to 10 full months. The clock will not restart until every specific question raised by the regulator is comprehensively answered with documented evidence. Relying on the 4-month target without bulletproof preparation destroys capital burn rates and derails product launch schedules before they even begin. The very first step in building a viable application is clearly identifying your firm's regulatory perimeter. This diagram illustrates how every revenue-generating activity must map directly against the Regulated Activities Order, or RAO. The RAO is a statutory instrument specifying which financial activities require explicit FCA permission. You determine this exact overlap using the FCA's Perimeter Guidance Manual, known as PERC. If you over-apply for permissions you do not actually need, you saddle your firm with a massive, unsustainable compliance burden. Conversely, if you under-apply, you risk operating illegal, unregulated revenue streams the second your platform goes live. Misidentifying your required permissions guarantees a fatal structural flaw in your application before you write a single internal policy. This precise scope forms the core of your Regulatory Business Plan, or RBP. The RBP serves as a rigorous regulatory defense document that focuses on compliance requirements rather than commercial investor appeal. The RBP must prove that your firm satisfies the FCA's 5 threshold conditions: location, supervision, appropriate resources, suitability, and business model. The regulator applies intense scrutiny to the appropriate resources condition, specifically examining your financial adequacy and capitalization. This chart shows how your financial projections must be detailed down to the pound and subjected to severe adverse stress tests. Even a minor mathematical inconsistency between the narrative in your RBP and these financial projections will immediately trigger a case officer query. The RBP serves as the primary lens through which the FCA decides if your business model poses an unacceptable risk to UK consumers and market integrity. You cannot build your compliance infrastructure after you receive authorization. It must be fully, materially in place before you submit the application. Under the Senior Managers and Certification Regime, or SM&CR, you must submit detailed individual Form A applications for your leadership team. The SM&CR is a strict accountability framework designed to hold financial executives directly responsible for their firm's conduct. This diagram shows the required operational hierarchy, which must include designated personnel for compliance oversight, known as the SMF-16, and a money laundering reporting officer, or SMF-17. Appointing a nominal MLRO who lacks genuine independence, seniority, or technical expertise is one of the fastest ways to fail the FCA's assessment. Submitting an application without a fully vetted and operational compliance team guarantees you will fail the suitability threshold condition. In 2026, the FCA expects the consumer duty mandate to be fully satisfied prior to launch. The consumer duty is a strict regulatory standard requiring firms to proactively deliver good outcomes for retail customers. This means the duty's 4 core outcomes: products and services, price and value, consumer understanding, and consumer support, must be actively integrated into your firm's DNA immediately. Applicants must provide concrete evidence that these outcomes are hardwired into their proposed business model from the earliest stages of product design. The FCA evaluates this consumer duty implementation plan as a mandatory core component of your business model assessment. Failing to proactively engineer these protections into your pre-launch architecture is a guaranteed route to an application rejection. The final physical hurdle is uploading all of this evidence into Connect, the FCA's proprietary application portal. Do not attempt to fill gaps in your documentation by uploading generic, off-the-shelf compliance or anti-money laundering policies. A skilled case officer will instantly identify frameworks that have not been explicitly tailored to your firm's specific daily operations. Every rejected document or subsequent query stalls the statutory clock, turning that fast-track 4-month target into an indefinite, costly delay. A stalled application drains your capital reserves, delays your product launch, and inflicts lasting reputational damage with the regulator. Navigating this strict legal perimeter requires specialist intervention to translate your commercial ambitions into a bulletproof regulatory submission. This is where compliance consultant steps in, recognized across the UK financial sector as the compliance doctor. They conduct comprehensive pre-submission DAP analysis, meticulously draft your regulatory business plan, ensure strict SM&CR compliance, and manage all case officer engagement directly. They provide the regulatory engineering necessary to establish your firm's legal presence in the UK market. Stop guessing at the regulatory perimeter and risking your firm's future on an incomplete submission. Secure your authorization smoothly by leveraging over 25 years of specialized FCA expertise. Book a discovery call today and make compliance work for your business. FCA Authorization is your starting gate. Don't fail before the race even begins.